YouTube. It is your boy Benji, and we are back balling. Thank you for coming back to another one. And if you are new, please don't forget to subscribe. Gabby Williams made headlines. Obviously, she tore it up overseas this in a little break that the WNBA had mid-season um, for Team France. She was averaging 15 and a half. She made some crazy plays against Team USA going down into the end of the game, the title game for the Olympic squad, and finished out the WNBA season this year with the Seattle Storm. Uh, we know that she can get buckets. She actually went ahead and made that happen this season, only playing a few games, mind you, and eventually took to social media and addressed, actually at a press conference, about the WNBA not necessarily living up to what they promised. Let's hear it out.
The W thinks that they don't have to pay us more in order for us to be here. And I think I didn't express that when I first talked about prioritization. Our commissioner talked about us being able to, make 700,000. That's not true at all. There's not one player who makes that. And we were promised, team marketing agreements and legal marketing agreements, but they've fallen quite short. So it's still not enough for us international players to want to stay here. And that's a choice of the players. If I make a choice to make more money, whatever, and then teams are mad that I don't come back, but that's how it is. So yes, it just the WNBA, if you want us to be here, you have to pay us more. It's business, it's how it works, and that's all that means. The W.
Of course, these comments got people in a frenzy. The league does not earn enough money to pay players more. They are already overpaying players and ridiculously raising salaries while still losing money. I will say one thing about this year is that we avoided a lot of these conversations, but they're back. When you accept the job, you accept the pay that comes with it. No one has to pay you more money just because you feel like you deserve it. Don't take the job. I do agree with option number 2, but then that leads into our point as this is why I will go overseas, and then you all will be confused as to why players are not playing in America for the WNBA. This is why. This is, I think, the only point that I think she was making. Now, spend money to make money. Increase their pay, expand it to 20 teams, and watch your curriculum grow. Don't think that's how it works. Because money for nearly 3 decades. You not need to spend more money to make money. This is something that people who have never started a business say about business, and so you understand. You cannot expand a business if you have no money with which to expand. The WNBA is living off a yearly charitable donation from the NBA. Without that charitable donation, they would already be out of business. Losing money for 3 decades, where did the talent go? They have talent now. The problem is nobody cares. Without Google, name 5 times. Well, it took Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan to really bring a light to the NBA. And then, of course, we had generations of players afterwards. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Stephen Curry that really ignited the fire under the NBA. So, I mean, the NBA is nearly 100 years in. She's saying that the pay is more. She took John knowing the pay that she was accepting, not complaining about it. No. This is an entitlement. I think they like to hoop. I think that's really what it is. It's their job, but I like to hoop. And if my job is only allowing me this much, I have to explore other options. I think the argument is that in order for you to stay near and dear to your close ones, which a lot of these players are essentially American born, or they at least have to live in America in order to play in the WNBA, at a certain point, for comfortability purposes, I think they're addressing that it is hard for them to stay because let's say the prior seasons, you got players playing 40 games, 38 games, etc. The seasons prior to were a lot shorter. So you only had a month, 2 months, 3 months of WNBA action. Granted, the trade-off makes a little bit of sense, but if my job is to play basketball, I can't necessarily stay local if these other teams are throwing that money at me. And at the end of the day, while I may not want to play overseas, it's business. I think we would have the same arguments made if the NBA wasn't granted the players a lot of money and all these overseas teams were paying that money. We see it year in and year out on the men's game that a lot of guys leave to go play overseas for whether it's increased roles, business opportunities, etc. We see it all the time. Don't know how y'all act like it's a random thing with the WNBA. You're missing several details looking to what she's saying. She's speaking on what she prioritizes playing overseas over the WNBA and they need to offer her in order to attract more international players. And that's what it is. It's hard for you to grow the game if you don't have any necessarily any market share in the game. The NBA has been the best league in the world because they have the best players from all over the world. It's hard for you to get the best players, if you ain't paying them. So the league will be stagnant at some point because you got plenty of players who are leaving to go do other things. Liz Cambridge left. Plenty players all the time leave because this isn't necessarily what's working. This can't necessarily pay my bills, etc., etc. Anyways, she doubled down and kind of added a little bit of an explanation to what she was talking about. Average salary is 116. WNBA players should be making more. TV contracts, ESPN, ABC, crowds, merchandise, private planes. WNBA, along with NBA's help, can make this league even better. It can be done. Should this slippery term, you and I should be making more too. Who's paying for it? Yeah, I agree. Let's hear Gabby out.
For everybody here, in the video I'm talking about WNBA salaries and our collective bargaining agreement. I'm not talking about personal endorsements. I'm not going to disclose what I make from personal endorsements. I'm talking about specifically what WNBA salaries are and what is written in our CBA, which all of you can Google and it's all public information. 2, for everyone saying, well, stop complaining and leave the country if you're unhappy in America. I did. And I have been for the last 3 years. That's the point. That's the question I was asked. Specifically, like after the Olympics, everyone was like, why isn't Gabby Williams in the WNBA? This is why. Because I make way more overseas. Anyways.
Like I said, if you are looking to grow the league, you saw how much a ridiculous performance she had with the Olympics. Then you will have people that say, why did she get an opportunity? She was granted an opportunity by Seattle to come back, finish the second half of the season. But now, the season's over, I got to go back. Because who's going to get paid? That's what she's talking about.
And to the point of this comment, Clark does. Clark makes $70,000 in the WNBA. So I know all these, Caitlin Clark fans, whatever. Right. Like, Caitlin Clark makes $700,000. That's off of endorsements. I'm not talking about endorsements. I'm talking about the WNBA. Right. And no, there's not one player in the entire WNBA that makes the money that the commissioner likes to brag about.
And obviously, she's sitting in meetings and having conversations that we aren't necessarily privy to.
And that was the point of that clip as well. Part 4, why do I keep coming back to the WNBA then? I come back when the timing's right, like if it works out. Because I have other things that I prioritize that me personally I choose to prioritize, and that's my choice. As I said in the video, players have the right to choose what they want to do. I've chosen to play for my national team and to make more money overseas. I come back to Seattle because they treat me well. I'm willing to play for less money because the staff and my teammates are always so great to me, and I enjoy playing there. And I enjoy playing in the WNBA. It just
like Buddy was talking about the business decision. That's like if you're granted a position at one firm, but another firm wants you to play or to work for them, but they're cutting your salary in by 3. So you're only making a third of what you would have made the other job. Nobody in America would take that position, but y'all asking the WNBA players to do that. When there are plenty of talented players all around the world that are choosing to play overseas simply because the schedule, the money, the timing are not making sense in the WNBA, particularly if you want to make a living off of playing professional basketball. Why does everybody dream of playing in the NBA? Because there's life-changing money over there. For everybody. It's a little harder to make it overseas, and particularly for American-born players, it's a lot tougher for you. There's a little more opportunity for the women in that realm.
It happens that it doesn't always work out. I also want to give a shout out to Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier for starting a league in the U.S. for players to make
the Unrivaled League, yeah,
a very good salary outside of the WNBA in the offseason, because going overseas isn't for everyone.
Exactly.
I go overseas, I'm half European.
But yes, to offer opportunities for players who have not or are not playing overseas or maybe considering the option. Brianna Stewart and Ephesian Collier founded the league, the Unrivaled League, which is going to be tipping off in January 2025. Look who's playing. And I think it's dope, first of all, that they're taking matters into their own hands. You don't see the NBA guys doing it. These guys are making millions of dollars, and they're still begging for money from these GMs. Super dope. Plenty of talent, lacing up. Still a couple spots to be filled. I think Asia and Caitlin Clark have already announced that they're not playing, but still a lot of good hoops to be had. And I'm interested in checking it out and I guess going from there to see where to check out some of these games.